No.
It's a little bit scary.
Okay, calling the Town of Oregon Board meeting to order on Tuesday, March 14th at 6:32 PM. We need a motion for a chair.
I make a motion that Frank Clark chair.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'm the chair. Number two, roll call. Jennifer?
Kate Gladdy,
Here.
Fred Clark,
Here.
Carl Walzer,
Here.
Arlen, Cox,
Here.
and then absent would be Fred Clark. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Fred. Absent is,
I might be absent.
I know, I'm sorry, Wayne, I'm sorry. Wayne is-
Been a long day.
Yeah, well, it's.
Approval of minutes.
There are going to be two sets in your packet. The first set is from last month, February, and then the second set is going to be from the opening of the road bids.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve both minutes from the last board meeting and from the opening of bids.
A motion, and a second.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Finance report and payment vouchers.
I'll move to approve the finance report and payment vouchers as presented.
Motion, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
I got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Appearance by Deputy Martin.
Don't
Nobody from Mr.
see him in the audience and I don't have anything from him.
All right. Public comment, anything that anybody wants to discuss that is not on the agenda with a 5-minute time limit?
Brian Richards, 5441 County Road A. I just had a quick question. Will we be able to make a quick comment or question on any of the agenda items? Or is now time to ask them?
This is for anything that is not on the agenda.
Okay, so we will be able to make a contribution, comment, question on one of the agenda items. Thanks.
From the back, I saw a hand.
Here's Don Coffey, 5431 Lincoln Road, wondering on the comp plan, if you've all, probably you've seen the attachment we had sent to you, is there any comments you guys had on it?
That is
It is on the agenda. It is on the agenda.
it's on the plan commission agenda. It is on page, I think I put it in here. Let me get back. And it's in our book. Page 36 is the letter that the talk is sent forward. And I have had a chance to talk with them and they would like to have their property included, if I'm speaking correctly, with the comp plan that they're submitting to the county. That you would like your request to be considered with this comp plan, not the amendment.
Correct.
That's what they're asking.
Got anything more?
Just elaborate a little bit on it, you know, the comp plan, like, what you're trying to do is stop development per development. Well, we want to do that, we only got 20 acres, we know that.
Yep.
But to slow down the urban sprawl, we need your help as much as we need ours. For us, if we were to sell that to a developer, they're gonna put 20, 30 houses in there. We're trying to stop it, we want to keep farming it, but we can't do it without your help.
All right, you're next. Hand up.
Laura Wilmot, 5596 Windridge Road. I had two proposals as part of the RS 8B. that I would just like to make sure that is in there prior to any decision being made on it. Both the language that involves our property and the rezone of our property as part of the new land plan.
Anybody else, public comment? Jerry?
Jennifer was nice enough to send me chapter 11. Just a couple of comments. When I was reading through it, chapter 11.15.010. Lot sizes. A lot shall not be smaller than 2 acres. And that's lots containing narrow. Okay, at least 2 acres for placement of private waste disposal drain fields. When we did that years and years ago, you needed 2 acres for a well and 2 sites for septic fields. There have been advances in creating septic fields since we did that years and years ago. So I would like the new town board to perhaps instruct the planning commission to take a look at that. Because I think they would find out that if we brought in an engineer with a presentation of how septic fields have changed over the years, then you could lower that lot size. Also, special density restrictions, groundwater recharge area, that no longer exists. So that could be eliminated from chapter 11. And, you know, a couple other things, but those are the 2 big ones, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of time.
Thank you. Anybody else, public comment? Number 7, communications with Dane County Board. I don't see Jerry here. Jennifer, you have anything?
I
from
don't have
Jerry?
anything.
All right. Number 8, discussion possible action, recommendation from the Plan Commission. Arlen?
Yes, we have a parcel that Jerry Jensen and family has put it to be reorienting the reorienting the lots that he has a right to do. He's looking at, or he had developed 3 additional lots besides the farmstead. And he wants to take 2 of those and rearrange it. The one that's the flag lot off of Town Park Road would go away. And would have the 2, that would be an extension of Windridge. One would be east and east-west orientation at the property line. And the other is a north-south orientation along the westerly property line. The one little square there would revert to the ag land. This was approved by the Plan Commission. And there's a lot of details in there, including extension of the road and the cul-de-sac. There are suggestions from the Public Works as to the type of cul-de-sac, looking at something that was possibly more of a roundabout with an island in the middle, taking about the same space, something that's like at Lowry Court. That gives them chances to store snow instead of pushing it into everybody's driveway, can store the snow into the center. That proposal has not gone before the plan recommendation from Public Works. It's not gone before the plan commission. It seems to make sense, and I encourage Jerry to have the engineers look into that.
Yep.
It's, I guess, part of the problem, part of the complaint from Public Works as to how long it takes to clear all the cul-de-sacs. More work and then not doing it very well. That was, anyway, the plan commission, long and short of it is, plan commission approved the concept. Coming here to approve the concept, Jerry has to come with the engineering drawings that taking care of the road and plan of what you're going to be doing. And you're even nodding your head on the little, on the,
Yeah,
about rather than a cul-de-sac.
right. I'm more than happy to do whatever Abel wants. How to configure that. It's kind of between Abel and my road builder.
Well, I think you're going to be needing to have a plan,
Sure.
and that can be approved and everybody
Yep.
salutes it, we move forward.
Yep. Yep, there's lots of engineering that needs to be done yet.
Yes.
But, you know, we're working through the process. And, you know, the first thing is to get the two lots approved by the town, and then we'll go ahead and do the engineering part of it. Make sure the stormwater is taken care of. That's a big deal.
Yep. And if any of you've been out there, the northwest corner is the lowest spot. So there's a drainage, or there's a lot of drainage to that corner that it will have to be taken care of as well, and not be impacting the neighbors.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I move the board accept the recommendation of the plan commission to be approving the Jensen relocation of the lots in the concept layout, looking for the engineered plans.
So do you want that to be,
Pardon?
do you want that to be a D, like a restriction or something on that?
The concept plan, waiting for the engineering drawings so we can have an agreement. So we can develop a developer agreement.
So you want pending a developer's agreement?
Right.
And
Well, that,
Because we don't have the details, right, engineering details right now.
Okay.
So first step. You
First step is-
can start moving forward.
first step is approving the lots, and then
Yeah,
Then we
and
can
then,
move-
we don't want to hold them up with the county, because I'm sure the county is waiting for us to make an approval, so we don't want to. So.
Yep.
So we have motion by Harlan, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Kate, any more discussion, any questions? Kate?
No.
I don't have any, I think it's a great idea, Carl,
No,
anybody? All right. All in favor, said motion, oh, I'm sorry, Harlan, do you have something more to add? You had your hand up.
I'm jumping
Okay.
ahead before the motion is voted.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs. Motion carries.
Uh,
B, presentation of final draft of comprehensive plan, scenario 1 and 2 with legacy lots.
You have, you should all have had the copy, the comprehensive plan layout that was approved by the plan commission at their October 18th meeting. And the plans, and with that, so the key provisions that came forward are, if you look at the little blue flags. Oh, this isn't in color. The little blue numbers, those are all existing lots that are deemed to be within subdivisions that can be divided into additional 2-acre lots. You see some have numbers of 1. There's some with 3s, some 2s. All those can be subdivided to create lots in the current plan. This is also the current, and this is also carrying through to the proposed plan. So there's no change in the plan for those particular lots. The board asked for what is the impact of the legacy lots or the RH lots. If you look at the 2 or the red lots that are tagged in red, these are the RH, or what some people have called the legacy lots that were removed from the plan. That 94, where it is not in the current plan. And it would be, so this is something that there's been some interest on. The Plan Commission has recommended that the board accept the plan as put together on the 18th of October. And they are presenting the plan, not endorsing this plan, but this is an information only, waiting for that you have the option to thank the Plan Commission. Option 2 saying we want to explore the legacy lots, send it back to the Plan Commission. Or those are probably the two main parts. I'm sure we could come up with some other options, but those are the 2 primary options. So it's accept the proposal as, or the plan, comprehensive plan as submitted, or go back to the drawing board and deal with the legacy lots.
I have some questions.
Yes.
Now, this is going back over 1.5 years ago when I came in here and we were looking at these lots. And they would be the ones in scenario 1. And that was back when Brian Duffin was still chairman.
Yeah. And they were.
And he was saying, you know, he thought they were all sort of maybe even a mistake, and are they really there? And then there was word out, well, maybe let's just add it to it, but not tell anybody they have it. And I'm kind of feeling like some of these things should be checked more carefully or be brought up more specifically at a public hearing. And I mean, the same sort of situation sort of came up with the other ones that were the RH properties. It's like, do those people even know they have it? Are they going to want it? And do we know, I guess we do know specifically where they are, but do you kind of understand what I'm saying? That I think we're thinking that there might be someone that say, oh my God, I don't want anybody to ever put a house there. I want to come and speak my piece.
In support of that argument, remember, it's if people have the right, just what you said,
Right.
But I don't want to do that. So they know, I have been approached by quite a few people who know that they have it, they don't want it, but they're also aging out. And they're
Right.
saying, this is something I can sell as I age out, move out, and sell it, that it could be subdivided, or I will subdivide it. So there's a lot of knowledge out there that I would not discredit the good citizens of this town in the feeling that they have or have not where they do or do not know that they can subdivide. There's also the Plan Commission in a lot of debate on the red or the RH, or whatever you want to call them, that there was also a lot of people who are not in the red who also are interested in possibly having development right or to be able to subdivide. And it was the feeling that the best policy would be to start again. If we're going to be having something that's going to be fair to all, that being fair to all means that the people that are other than the red flag, and we've had a number of some people come before us. And we have one family that's here now that does not have a development right, is not identified with a red tag, that is very interested in developing and subdividing their land. So now, what is the standard that we're going to be having for subdividing that land that's fair to everybody? But if we do it here, what is the standard? So we can do it there when somebody else comes in. So it's more than, it sounds good. Their cause is good. But now the next person comes in. Why can't I have that? How come they got it?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So isn't the answer to why did they get it? Because it was taken away from them 30 years ago on the RH
No.
properties?
No, wait a minute, this was not an RH property. That's for people who are not the RH properties. That there's other people who,
No, that's what I'm saying. Isn't it a two-parter? So the legacy parcels in Brian Standing's map. What we would be doing if we said, yes, let's approve the revision to allow them to divide, we would be correcting something that happened in 95.
I think that would be the opinion of some people. And is that going to be a position of the rest? Is that going to be borne out by the rest of the town? Yeah, I mean, that's a way of looking at it.
Okay, so then the people who are not flagged with the yellow and red parcels, they are not making the argument.
Blue and red.
Well, I'm talking, so I'm looking at the legacy parcels.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
The red.
Yes. Not, the blue is, to me, is a slightly separate issue.
That's separation, yes.
So the legacy parcel, the people who are saying, okay, why do they get theirs? You know,
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Are they making a claim that they fall into the same class, the same group of people as those who had RH property rights 30 years ago? And they don't now, it was taken from them now.
That is the premise that they're stating.
Okay, is this a gap in documentation then? Like why Brian Standing wouldn't have flagged them as the same as these legacy parcels on scenario 2?
We could, I think we're getting deep into the nitty gritty here, but you're asking Brian Standing. Phrase the question again, maybe I can.
So to me, it seems like two different parts of scenario 2, right? We've got Brian Standing has identified legacy parcels, right?
Yes,
RH properties. So he said, okay, here's what I can find.
yes,
And if we approve this scenario, then you're saying, I think, that there might be other people in town who say, either I should have been in that group too, or I have the same interest in dividing. Can you help me with that? That's two different, to me, that's two different things.
they're two different things.
So shouldn't we approach scenario 2 as it stands on its own now, and then help this other group that's not part of the RH properties, legacy parcels, not part of that? Shouldn't we help them and develop something that works for that group? So it seems to me like it's a different group.
It's a different group. It's also remember that when there's an advocate for that, as you say, they don't have a split, they're not a legacy.
Right.
Then if they get to have their land subdivided or subdividable, then anybody in that similar situation should be able to do the same. Are we, and are we going to have that policy?
But I think that's, okay, that's definitely something we should talk about.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that it's different than this particular topic.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
That
should
was
we
it.
consider this on its own then, and that as a separate?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying something.
No. I'm sorry.
Okay,
That's,
I thought you were trying to combine and then get to the.
in some of the arguments that were had at the plan commission in regards to legacy art, when they removed or kept, did not include the legacy in the new comprehensive plan. It was also brought up that there were, going back to 81, plan that was in 81, that there was development rights then that were removed with the 81 plan. So this has, when are we going to go back 30 years? And so it's the general feeling was, let us, if we're going to be addressing the RH properties or people who feel they have the need or desire to be subdividing their land for whatever reason, that we create the method for doing so or not doing so. So right now we have let's see, 200 and some, 250, 225, 250 splits or development rights on our 1 to 35. And how many is it in the blue? We had the number here. It's almost 50, was it? Let's take 44. It's scenario 1 has 44. But we have the 200 and some odd splits, and we have 44 in scenario 1 that are in the current comprehensive plan that would be carried forward as is the new comprehensive plan.
Right. So I guess I'm a little bit lost on what the plan commission is looking for tonight.
The plan commission is following the directive from our joint meeting.
Right.
Which was to look at it and come back, report. And we have recommended adoption of the comprehensive plan that was passed in October 18th, on October 18th. And here is the map that shows the legacy plans that were in before the previous comp plan was passed. So.
Can I bring up something? You know, I don't know how many people are familiar with that recording that we had from that meeting. What year was that meeting, Jennifer?
What year? It's October 18th, 20. Which the.
No, there was, when all those that happened, that the people had these land, when they bought it, they supposedly had a split. And then all of a sudden, when we went to farmland preservation, it was taken away, but then they're saying that was a mistake. And there is a recording at a board meeting where they said, we are going to give this all back. That was wrong. And that's a legacy splits that we're talking about.
Yes,
So it was decided a while ago to give it back.
to give back at the town board passed it. It went to CLR.
It did.
It was, it went to the county for approving that amendment. It was tabled. So it was never rejected. It was never passed. So it's hung out there in limbo. And the plan commission, again, is.
I don't know that
looking-
the planning commission understands all those steps that happened
Yes.
before where we're at now
Yes,
with that.
debate it long and hard, and that's where
I beg to
the
differ.
recommendation is to go forward with something that's approved.
I beg
As
to
October,
differ.
and then to be having a look at if there's going to be more development, to create a policy that's fair to all for any additional subdivision. But to be had, instead of going back in history, go forward. Because there was an awful lot of people who were, why aren't I included? Steve Ripp's got his hands up.
I beg to differ with you.
Okay.
The new members of the planning commission have no idea of the history of this, what's going on.
Oh, yes. Very, very true.
So how can you say that the planning commission does understand all this? This is what the recommendation is.
This is what the recommendation is. I think it's looking at primarily the. Well, I guess you check the vote. There's some quick learners, there's some new people who have not been on their, or just joined. And the latest one for sure did not vote for this. I think she's here now.
Speaking as the newest member of the planning commission, I am aware of these issues. I wasn't there when the comprehensive plan was voted on to proceed with the comprehensive plan. I think that's the last meeting. Because you all voted on it before I got there. And then it's all member.
Jess, could you be really loud?
Sure.
Thank you.
I just want to make,
Come to the
the one
front.
point
We
I would
can't
like
hear
to
you very
make
good.
was that Brian's
To the front.
understanding
Could you
had-
go- could you go-
oh, sorry. Was that not all of the new planning committee members are ignorant of the history. I've actually been researching it and I've talked with Tim about it, and others and trying to catch up on things. I've got a lot of concerns. But I take it seriously and I'm trying to, but I wasn't at the meeting yet. I wasn't installed yet. The other thing I understand in terms of the deliberations, which I think I was at the earlier planning committee, I just sat in the audience for, was that Brian Standing said that I asked the question, if we want to make a change that differs from the comprehensive plan as it is now, would it be more expedient to change the plan or to approve the plan and then to drop an amendment to the plan? And he very unequivocally said it would be much more expedient to do an amendment or an addendum to the plan and to just approve the plan. And I mean, that's what he said. And I am still learning, so if he's wrong, I don't know. But I do remember he said that. And so I was personally, even though I don't think I voted on the approval of the planning commission the board on with the comprehensive plan, although I remember. Because I think I would have voted yes, based on Brian's standards. That it made sense to him that we should just approve the comprehensive plan and that we would assume that we could make changes and it would be most expedient to just make changes through other instruments. Addendums.
In support of what you're saying, Jessica, is that the amendment, or depending on how public hearings go, and the citizen input as to the desire for having more development, less development, development here, no development, whatever the public hearings are going to be pushing, that be something to be part of creating the amendments for what I call moving forward with something that's fair to all. A question that did come up at the last board meeting, plan commission meeting, was that people who had the RH, the legacy, was it a pure taking or did they get something in return? In the ag, for instance, in the ag exclusive, the development right were split is for one for every 35 acres was we're going to take away your development rights, but we're going to give you some development rights. They also took away the valuation of farmland from being in speculative cost range. So right now, having farmland that could have been, that was worth many thousands of dollars as a home site, that all of farmland did not get taxed that way. In fact, currently, the farmland, much of the farmland is in the $200, $300, $400 an acre, is being taxed at that low of a rate. The members brought up that, is there a similar thing that if we took away something from the RH folks, did they get something in return, or was it pure taking?
So how do we
That was the
find out
question.
that answer before we make a decision? Seems we should
But
know.
if you.
Steve, did you get anything?
What's that?
Did you get anything?
No. We're not quite sure what that is. It could have been a tax. Also could have been a tax. Value, land value tax, could have been. It's something to check. So if you say, go back and look at this, that'd be one of the things that we'd be looking at. But it also could be said that ask the comprehensive plan and let's start working on the amendments.
I mean, I just feel like this has been such an issue as long as before I've been on the board. And I wish we would have gotten this information before we make this choice, because it seems to me that we're taking away something from someone, something that they had.
Well,
And that's what it said in that recording that I don't think you've heard, right?
Well, that was the case that was being made by Brian Duffin. That was the case. This is something that was taken away. He didn't,
Everyone that was at that meeting agreed. I
They
didn't-
hired a planner at the time. They hired, I can't think of his name. No, they hired MSA and because what happened was they realized it was taken out and they hired a planner to get it put back in. And when it went to the county and was tabled, it was bring it back up when you do your comp plan amendment. Well, it's taken us this long to do our comp plan amendment. So it wasn't, it was fixed. We did an ordinance for it. We hired a planner to fix it. And it just never got passed by the county. That's correct. And that's because we're doing our revision now, which has taken much longer because of COVID and other things.
So the county would have went along with it. So I don't know why we all of a sudden want to wait to amend it before we give it to these people.
So are you saying approve the October?
We'd like to approve for the second scenario with the RH in there. But I mean, I'm not ready to approve anything right now. I mean, when we're here talking, we obviously haven't come to any sort of a decision, a comfortable decision.
the plan commission has put forward the comprehensive plan is set, and I said to you, now, are you going to put a directive in to relook at redoing that part? No, I mean, before the comprehensive plan gets approved.
I mean, it's taken so long, why take, I don't know.
There's a lot of reasons why it took so long, and it's.
Well, I know, I understand, and that's why if it's taken so long, why not take a little longer and make the right decision on this right now, rather than saying, oh, now we're gonna look at it again, and then we'll do an amendment. I think it'd be a good idea to have that part of the decision with all the information.
And I'd be thinking that,
And it looked like it was a choice. Do we want to go with scenario 1 or 2?
well, you would be, scenario 1 would be accept, approve
Right.
approved plan for public hearings. If we approve the plan from October, public hearings start. we start getting input from the town. And then you go back and you possibly revise it. If you send this RH thing back now, the whole hearing process gets shoved way into the future.
Why?
Why? I don't get
I
why.
don't get why.
If you have the scenario there, you have a scenario two. If we pick scenario two, why does it get shoved to the back? You've already got it made up. It's already drawn up. We have the maps. Scenario one, and then your scenario two with the legacy lots. Why does it get shoved way back? I
And I,
don't get that.
and I think, are you consider, this is where I go back to, okay, here's scenario two. This is the group of people that have been identified. Your other group of people, we're not talking about them.
No.
So we would say scenario two, let's include scenario two. There would be no other research necessary at that stage.
Well, one of the arguments was, what about the ones before 81?
But
That's
then
what
you
I'm
have
talking
an
about. Other people.
amendment.
That's another.
No, that's different. That's a different altogether. Or that's another legacy, that's another depth of legacy.
Right, but we have no information on that, correct?
No, we do. We just don't have the maps for it. We don't have the records. The records are murky.
I think we have to act on what we know,
Mhm.
you know, and bringing up other groups is another discussion. To me, that's the way I feel about it. It seems like that's what everybody's saying.
I think that a decision like this, we need a full board to make.
I agree.
And I think we should table this until we have a full board to actually make this. And we've had some people from the audience that have raised questions on Jerry Jensen on the lot size and the amount of septic, and the woman she's been to the plan commission a number of times on the copies. I think there's information out there that we need to look at and get more information and table this until next month, and we have a full board and make a full board decision on what to do. Is my recommendation.
Just a question on that, because it's also election time. Are we gonna postpone yet another month for the new members then?
I can't speak for the board for that.
We do have one more, we do have the April board. This board
In
is
April,
meeting
correct.
in April,
Right.
Correct.
and the change doesn't happen to the annual meeting.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
correct.
So we would have a full board next month, and hopefully we can make a decision
That's familiar with the issues.
with the issues, and we'll have a full board too. Because we could vote tonight, we could be tied, and we don't know, so with a full board, we have a tiebreaker that we could ditch it and put that. And we have Wayne's input, because he's attended most of the plan commission meetings and has information that he might have questions about that we don't know. So that would be my recommendation at this point. We've had a lot of discussion about this, but I think there's questions that still need to be answered, so I would move to table this part of the,
I'll second that.
all in favor of tabling this? Say aye. Okay, pull same side. Thank you. Okay, Arlen, go ahead.
As a question going back to the plan commission, now, this is going to be tabled. You all have also brought up some other issues that you were wanting to look at, but something that I was wanting to look at was there a true taking with the RH, that there was nothing that was
Yep.
Traded for that. One. That is important. We got something else.
Well, Jerry Jensen brought up about lot size
The lot size,
and
the lot
with
size.
the septic systems, because there is greatly improvement in the septic system since back in the beginning of time.
Lot size
Probably in
and
95 when the first one was drawn out.
water recharge.
Water recharge.
That's been disconnected. That's been gone.
And that's gone.
Yeah, that is gone. And that's in our ordinance. That's not in our comp plan. And the septic systems, we happen to talk about it, and the county has said that it's public health, and they said about an acre. What you can go down to is in the rural subdivision.
Okay.
Because we have subdivisions right now in our town that have lots that are less than an acre. that have
Yeah, when I
septic
talked to them, they said there was no minimum,
There is,
and I do have that in an email document.
Yeah, but most of the subdivisions that were put in were prior to requiring 2 fields. So all our existing subdivisions go back to the 70s. And that was less than just one septic field.
I think we've got 2 in Great Parks.
Now it has to be 2.
Well, that would have been 70s.
I'm sorry,
That would have been the 70s
it would have
also.
been the 70s.
Windridge was,
I'm sorry,
Windridge was done it was done in the eighties.
yeah. and
I'm
then-
nineties and I do not have
In
two
90s,
septic
yeah.
fields.
I know Windridge, that the road was late 88, 89, 90. So that was,
That was post the 2 fields.
all right, tables. Number 9, Parks Report. Discussion action of 2023 summer parks mower. Steve, you have the floor.
Thank you. We did not have a March park meeting, for various reasons. We will be having an April meeting. Our city individual will be at our April meeting to discuss the, contract, impact fee, discussion. Moving forward on that, I've been in contact with Ryan about hiring a mower, part-time mower for the summer, for this summer. We did not have one last summer. There wasn't a need for one because of the road work being done this year. Ryan and Abel feel we should hire a part-time. We got a couple of prospects. I'd like to know from the board what I can offer them. Pay wise. Well, I would like, let up discussion and
Refresh memory when it was 2020. What did we pay? So 15?
15, we paid 15 in 2020, so.
And our Torque employees are getting paid 17, correct?
Yeah,
I
we did.
would say, didn't it? In my general opinion, we'll open up, but I would say anywhere from the $15 to $17 range is what I'm thinking, but I will put it up to the board to discuss pay for part-time. And they're not a 40-hour a week, they're
no. Ryan figures, and I agree with him, somewhere in the neighborhood of 23 to 25 dollars a week. It's gonna involve.
It's quite often a college student, or has it
In
been?
the past, it's been high school seniors and above, but my understanding is that we can hire a 16-year-old if he's qualified. The 2 prospects that we have, after shaking around the township, are 16-year-olds right now.
Jennifer, we're gonna have insurance issues with that age.
You know what, we looked into that and I don't think that there was an age, there was not an age. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, I think we looked into that. I can go back and look at my emails, but we did that a few years ago. Or a few years ago. No, year before.
we're having problems the year before finding somebody with
I
that
think so.
young lady at the last minute to more.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, that's right. We had,
Correctly.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
They were going only on.
We had made a motion to be having the salaries of town staff bumped. It's the 8.6.
8.7, but I think that was full-time only, full-time
This is those
staff.
seasonal.
And then even,
Seasonal.
even if we did that increase, it would still be lower than what has been suggested. We're talking 20, what did you say, 23 or somebody said
23 hours. But
23 hours,
I-
so we haven't come up with $1 a wage. an hourly
It was
wage.
15,
That was an hourly wage.
17.
Yeah.
15 to 17.
I would say we would go no late. I just have the Village of Oregon. We probably want to go, I think there's at least as 1579. And they're going up to 1670 for their, but that's full-time summer employment at the village. So we are asking these people to sort of be a little bit more flexible and work around our schedule. So, I see that you kind of want to pay a little bit of a premium because you are not giving them full-time hours and you're asking them to, fit rains and then we get a lot of, growth, or if it rains and they're not gonna work a whole week, we're not guaranteeing up any hours, so. It's. I'm being, yeah, so
So when,
do you have a wage that you have in mind?
17.
Okay,
17.
See that, that's the same as what our torque employees are making. They're part-time. So that's. You'd say that's a fair, in my opinion, that's a fair wage, but I'm open for other people's thoughts.
I like 17.
Pete,
No, I like the 17.
Carl says 17, Arlen,
yes,
okay,
and let you know that Ryan and I will be doing the interviews and hiring someone.
We need-
good, we should make a motion. I'll entertain a motion for the park mower. Page,
I'll move to offer a $17 an hour wage to part-time parks mower.
motion, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Pete seconds it. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All the same sign, motion passes.
Appreciate it, thank you,
Thank you, Steve.
that's all I have.
Okay. Number 10, discussion possible approval of 2023 Alpine Road bids and bidding for seal coat of Netherwood Road. Arlen, you are the.
Yeah.
Road committee.
Yes, we have a lot of work to be doing on Alpine Road. We have received the 3 bids, which are in the packet. We have received a better bid than what we had thought would be the cost. We also have a possible option for a change. One, first off, is that Payne and Dolan came in low at 279, 122. We were budgeting that this could be closer to 400,000, so this is good. But you also notice that one of the other bids was very close to 400,000. So fortunately, we had a contractor who is doing the other half for the town of Brooklyn. So they're making them competitive. We also have our specs had asked for a 22-foot paved right of way. And that was based on Public Works measuring. They said it was a little squishy as to some places wider, some places narrower. And so they went to the wider piece of it. And but the town of Brooklyn has a 20-foot right of way for paving. Pavement width. And there is a discussion that we had at the meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, but that there was interest in going to 20-foot width and not go to the 22 and put change order request in to be reducing, and this would be they have sort of a square yard price tonnage in there, so it'd be a straight linear reduction in cost. And the more the discussion went, that if we went to 22 feet, we would be on less stable base and cause future problems and be a waste of funds. So first, I would make a motion that we accept the bid from Payne and Dolan to be doing the work. And give a second.
Hey, I got a motion from Arlen to accept Payne and Dolan's work. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Any more? We got a motion, a second. Any discussion about this? Pete, got anything to say?
Well, did we find out whether or not we needed to do new bids? If they're going to 20 feet instead of 22, or we just thought that they were going to Remember the discussion that we
If you
had?
look in the, if you.
Because
look
the
on-
bids, the other companies bid for 22 and now they're. bidding for 20.
And Banner one has bid for 22.
Okay,
So it is a,
okay.
we have in our specs, it says change orders are acceptable, or we can initiate a change order. And this would be a change order. And unless somebody's Jennifer, is there in any ordinance lurking in the background that would prevent us from executing a change order?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to
Okay,
that.
so I, from the specs, I'm saying that we have the right to be making a change order. And barring anything there. I would make a motion that we initiate a change order to be. We haven't got through the first one yet, but we have.
Right.
I'll jump again.
I'm sorry, Kate was just asking a question. You got any more questions, Kate? I don't have any questions, as long as we can do that, Carl.
Yep, nothing.
Anybody have any discussion? Jerry Johnson.
I could be wrong, but I'm thinking the town ordinance is 22 feet. And we make developers do 22 feet. And I think Jennifer could probably verify that, but if we make developers do 22 feet, why doesn't the town stick to its own ordinance?
Yeah, you're looking up the ordinance.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can I talk?
Yes, go ahead, Arlen.
We just did Lincoln Road and that's a 20-foot road. That was, the whole road is 20 foot. I don't know why you'd go on a side road. You'd want to go to 22.
Thank you, Arlen.
Thank you.
Hey, I stand corrected.
Okay,
If anybody knows, it'd be Arlen,
that would be all right.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, when we had some discussion, and we'll go to vote. All in favor going to Payne and Dolan, signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Arlen, you said you had a second motion that you wanted to entertain.
Entertain pursuing change order to be reducing the bid to a 20-foot road width.
A motion from Arlen to go to a 20-foot, from 22 to a 20-foot road width. I got a second.
I'll second that.
Kate second. Any more discussion?
Yeah, a couple things. Do we need a motion for a reduction like that? If that comes to pass, do we need to move the price goes down? And,
We've already approved this, so if the price goes down, it's just money in our piles.
right, so do we need
If
a
it
motion
was,
for that?
if it was go the other way, I would say yes. If it goes this way, the other way, I'd say we don't. Do we wait? If it goes down, we're gonna approve.
Oh, I guess if we are reducing the spec. I think it'd just be good to have the board say we're reducing the spec. They're specified with.
I think the ability to do that is built in. I don't,
Maybe it may be built in, but I guess I would feel better with making sure that. Is there a reason that the board shouldn't be? There's going to be some nickel and dime change order of. Move the mailbox or something.
there's probably no downside. I don't know, what was the wording of your motion? Did it include the?
Change orders go from 20 feet to 20 feet.
I would, if we're gonna make a motion, I would just make it general, that we may introduce change orders. Which makes me think that we don't need that motion. I mean,
Yeah, I guess I would feel much better because it is changing it from 22 to 20. If we were changing it from 20 to 22,
right, that's different.
I think we would definitely need to have a motion from the board.
If we were changing for
Then the way
we
we
should
should too.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All same time. Motion passes. All right, and we got seal coat bids for Netherwood Road, I do believe.
We don't have a quote. We
Okay.
have a budget estimate
Okay,
from. Is that up here? When did you include those in?
I did not get anything
Okay.
from. Bud Bus
We
tonight.
had, I had asked, Able. Come on, get up here. Asked Able to be getting a budget number for pursuing seal coating for Netherwood Road.
Right.
With the bids coming in favorably on Alpine Drive. We should be looking at what it's due for seal coat this year or at the worst next year.
can I intervene?
Pardon?
Can I intervene? First, can I intervene for a second? So we have a bid to blacktop. We have to gravel. Alpine Road. Shoulders. Yes, we have to, so this $279,000 to blacktop does not include shouldering, so don't get crazy. We have a $400,000. It could cost you $100,000 to shoulder. It's gonna cost you a bit of money to shoulder that road and culverts to replace.
They've been replaced.
I'm just putting that out there,
Yes,
that
sir.
remember that just because this has happened in the past where we've gotten a price. And then all of a sudden we gotta have $50,000-$60,000 to shoulder or whatever the amount for gravel. To make sure that
And we
we
do-
don't
and we-
get
and we
carried
do-
away with your.
And we do have an additional cost onto the 279 from Able, which was, I believe, in the 46,000 for adding gravel to be taking care of low spots. So yes, we have,
So there's, but that doesn't include shoulder, and that's just to fill in the low spots, correct? Just to add to the base.
and be adding some, if you saying that had some, it had some shoulder work to it as well, that was the gravel.
Just want to make sure that we are under the understanding that just because we have a road that we have to figure out grab shoulder.
Right, and I think we had discussion about that. People had numbers, but I don't remember what they were. though.
You know, the things you're also not including is fuel, and we pay for the excavator. I mean, there's other things that are included in that we have not really talked about. Fuel, cost of the excavator, you know, we do usually get aid from other municipalities to help us out for that. That's not really a cost, but that, you know, keeps track of it. So there are some other costs that are involved.
Jason, you have your hand up.
Have you guys looked into, cleaning them ditches up on that road and that too? There's a lot of springs that come down through there, and over the years that's gotten filled in. There's a lot of soft spots in that road. You're on the right path of the money and what it's gonna cost to do that road proper. I mean, I know in the past, I've been out there with Abel, been out there with Ryan. And there's quite a bit of excavator work and ditch work that should definitely be done there if you're gonna invest the money in the roadway. I think you're on the right path, but it's gonna cost more than just doing that road to do it right. There's a lot of trees.
Yep,
It's really got let go.
for sure. Mark O'Brien.
That road is in bad shape and there's a lot of soft spots, like Jason said. To do that road right. You're gonna have to clean the ditches and get the water away from the roadbed. Is one of the first things you do. And then clean it down to Glenway Road so the water can get out of there. And then shouldering, you better add on another 90 or close to $100,000 by the time you get done. Some places you're gonna have to put a foot of gravel on that roadbed.
Yeah, there's so many springs coming out of them fields on the south side that are just, that ditch is filled in and the water it just sits there. Nothing gonna chew up the road faster than water sits along the edge there. And I know Abel's aware of this,
Yeah, sure.
when I was out there with them.
It's gonna take some time and it's gonna figure another $100,000 on that, by cleaning ditches, shouldering and adding some places 8 to 10 inches of crushed rock on the road.
Okay, so go back to Netherwood Road does need to be seal coated, so yes, we do need to go ahead and get bids to get that seal coated.
but it'd be looking at, do we solicit bids for that, and when do we do that? We're gonna be putting together, if we brought up the other costs that are in here, we do need to have Public Works, outline things such as the ditching, which he was talking about doing. That there is the drainage, especially at the eastern end, that there's a drainage issue there. There's a lot of other issues of encroachment into the right of way by adjacent landowners too, which is another issue, which I don't think we're gonna be solving immediately. But see, we need to have a little more detail. Oh, I think we need to have a little more detailed proposal from Abel as to the extent of the work he's doing. He has given a price, a cost, an estimated cost. I think it was 46,000. You have that in the minutes?
I do not, that was because that kind of came to the pass after we closed.
Okay, well then let me have official. Okay, we get the official numbers as to what the work is that is being provided by the town and the cost of the town of that. I would still like to explore, and I had asked him to explore what the budgets were for doing seal coating. We have 1.8 miles of Netherwood Road. There's depending on see, one budget estimate, it puts it at 29,000 per mile to 31,000 per mile for a 24-foot wide road, and that one has the bicycle lane added to it. Semi-fractured pea stone with no sweeping, again in the 29 to 31,000 range. So if, and that does not have anything to do with cold patching or wedging, which he was also getting some budget work on. Oops, he did just send it. Cold wedging would be about $225 per ton. Full set wedging needed 125,000. So roughly speaking, 1.8 miles by, take the high one, 31,000, 30,000. So about 54. Adding, I think it's 54,000 plus another 22 to 26,000 wedging and patching. So it's no small chunk of change, but a lot less than redoing the whole road. And it has deemed as having a good base there. It just needs to get attention so that we don't get water in and blow it out. So I would request that you authorize getting putting bids out now and for the summer or before that anything gets approved there, that we do have all our numbers in place for Alpine. It's final numbers, which include the ditching, additional gravel, shoulder.
That's a motion. Second,
That's a motion.
a motion to look at getting bids for seal coating Netherwood Road. You got a motion from Arlen. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Kate. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, all same sign. It passes. Go ahead and tell Abel to start getting some bids. Number 11. Approval of hiring an LTE torque attendant. So we got an application from Michael Rochowski. I probably butchered that, but it's pretty good. Last month, you guys discussed it and then tabled it, looking to get a background check on Michael. We did a background check on him and he checked out good, so I make a motion that we hire Michael. Start working at the torque.
Second.
Second from Arlen. Any more discussion? No discussion.
Nope.
See none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pull the same sign. Motion passes. We can hire Michael. Number 12, discussion action, approval of resident letter for garbage and recycling curbside collection. Kate, you were involved in making this letter,
Okay,
and so was Lori, and so was Jennifer, so it's
Stephanie, we
And-
all worked on it. So letters in here, what we came up with.
Is March 15th the date that you'd like to send it?
We'd like to send it as soon as it's approved.
Or tomorrow? I'd move to approve the letter as written for sending as soon as possible.
motion from Carl, is there a second? 8 seconds, any more discussion? See,
Those that, I don't know, if it's probably not relevant to the approval of the letter, but I heard from residents today that they weren't aware they have waste management since the 70s. What will happen in the case that they can't get out of their waste management, say, maybe they've hired them for the year?
They can get out of
They
it.
can get out of
We've
it.
discussed it with them. It's all taken care of.
With
Oh, okay.
with waste management.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're working with it very nicely.
Good. That's great.
Thanks for the comment. Got a motion, a second, no more, just leave that discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pull the same sign, send the letter. 13, the sale of the Chevy pickup truck. As you can see, we took our 2000 Chevy 3/4 1-ton pickup truck over to Wisconsin surplus auction. And right now the bid's at $6,000, and I'm assuming, did it sell at 6,000 or?
No, it's on a sheet because the bid, so with the little blue circle that's on the side. The auction ended this morning and it sold at 6,476.
Nice. So a lot more than the 2,500 that we thought we were offered at the beginning, so that's awesome. So Ryan can get his fancy light bar and all that jazz that he was talking about. All right. 14, discussion action of agreement to purchase rolled salt on Wisconsin DOT bid. Jennifer?
So this is something we have a very short amount of time to do. We have to tell the county what we would like for road salt for next year. They go out to bid, so we don't have any pricing details. Last year, we did 400 ton. If you look at the memo that's also outside of your packet, it'll did some calculations. So we ordered 400 ton. We've received 323.15. So we have to take from that contract 76.85 ton remains. Once we do that, then our shed will be plumb full. We won't have any more room, so we won't be able to do an early fill. So I guess the question would be, what would you like to order for next year? Do you want to keep it at the 400 ton or do you want to reduce? We are predicting weather.
Your own estimate, Mother Nature.
So, and then in that, we are allowed to take 20% of whatever we guarantee, we can take in what they call a reserve, a vendor reserve. So we can only do 20% of our guarantees. So if we do 400 ton, we have an 80 ton reserve. If we do say 350, we would then have a 70 ton reserve. So your reserve is set by them.
Reserve is
You don't have to purchase it.
the 76.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's our contract that we're in. We have to take the 76
Okay.
that we're required to take because we guaranteed we would pay them for 400 tons. We have 80 ton in reserve. We're not going to take this. But going on to next year's contract, if we do 400, we have 80 ton in reserve. If we say we reduced it to say 350, we're going to guarantee you 350 next year. We'd only have a 70 ton reserve.
And what do we have room for?
We have room for nothing right now because it will be plumb full. And it's similar to, we start that way usually every year. We start it full, so.
So when did they start delivering something to our plumb full? salt shed?
Probably, when did we have our first big snowstorm? That was November, right? November. I think in November, we emptied out and then they got in a new load.
Emptied it?
Well, not emptied it, but took some out when we put some, replenished it.
We replenish every.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever we can.
So what does Abel recommend?
Did he put on this memo what he recommended? We talked about it today and he was okay with 350. He said he is attempting to use a little bit less salt, just given the whole climate of, there being, a lot of concern about salt being on roads and things of that nature, so. But again, you're predicting the weather, so.
We
You know,
did
we-
350 and we had, so we can have 420. Total. We used the reserve, or this year we had 400 and didn't use 400. So I would say 350 is probably, I'd say, a flirt with Mother Nature.
Rain, it snowed every Thursday.
Since the middle of February.
Am I missing the cost on this?
So we don't have a
No total
cost.
Oh, we don't know.
No, so they we go into a county contract, so it's a state contract, so they get the total number, everyone commits how much they will buy, then they send that out to them. So then we'll know.
Then is there any downside to having leftovers other than it's annoying to try to figure out the next year's order? I mean,
We
it
don't
seems like
have
there's no,
The problem is you have to store it in our salt storage. You can't just rent. So if we don't have any place to put it, that's where I'm always like worried, like we're gonna have to pay for it and we wouldn't have any place to put it. So some years we've like stored it in other
okay,
other salt sheds
Yes.
that have had room. But, I think, yeah. So that's the problem with over committing, we always have the option of sand. They mix a little bit of sand and salt.
okay.
Is that a motion for 350?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion for 350 in a second. Any more discussion? No. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 350 ton. All right. 15, discussion of possible approval, open record request policy and application. Jennifer, this is under you.
So we had quite a few open records requests and we realized we didn't have policies, so Carl and I worked together and we just sort of created based on I think kind of the Cottage Grove policy and some other ones, and so we've come up with this as a policy, which is on page 54. And then the application would be on page 55.
We're gonna have to change a couple phone numbers on that.
Really just puts a process behind it.
Sure.
You know, a process behind it, like
I see.
the- No, I get it, but I'm just saying for everything.
Yeah.
That most municipalities have got some kind of procedure like this. We haven't had anything documented. So this is just to fill in the blanks.
We have a motion to approve public forum records request.
I would want to approve it.
A motion from Carl, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Marlon. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, same sign. Motion passes. We got a policy. Okay, number 16, approval, discussion approval of appointment to road and traffic safety committee. Arlen?
Yes, we have to round out our road and traffic safety committee. Corey Inman, a resident of the town, who also happens to be a highway engineer, has recommended or has stated his interest. I've interviewed him. I think he would be a great addition. So then we would have 4 citizen members plus myself for 5. And you see his brief resume there of good number of years, lives on Crestwood. See, that off of Judd Road. Up there from the north end of Judd Road. So I would move that we appoint Corey Inman as the 4th citizen member of the Road and Traffic Safety Committee.
Motion from Arlen,
I'll second that.
Carl seconds, any more discussion?
No, we met him. He came that one time when we were discussing roads and he just was helping out in the audience. I remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This nice guy.
Yeah, so is 5 the total,
I was
5 members?
I would write that right now unless there's something that comes up. And then this is at the moment, it's an ad hoc committee. I would like to make it a standing committee, but that takes an ordinance. Jennifer, you said that would take an ordinance to turn into a standing committee.
Probably would need some sort of outline, yeah.
Yeah, so when we do that action from this board, it starts out as an ad hoc committee and hopefully we will be having our first meeting as a group this Thursday. Do I have that later on the agenda?
Yes.
I think you
You
do.
do.
Never mind. Never mind.
All right. All in favor of Corey, yeah, I mean, the Inman,
Yes.
the traffic safety. Aye. I oppose same sign. You have yourself a class committee member. Okay. All right, fire and EMS report. Oregon, Wayne is not here. So we'll go to Mark in Brooklyn.
Okay, your safety traffic committee, can they have their first meeting, picnic table on Glenway Road?
You'll be here.
There's definitely get somebody on Glenway Road, because all we got from Dane County was lip service. We have not seen a squad car out there in months.
That's one of the road, that's why it's a.
You
Traffic
changing
safety.
that, you mean changing that to
Not just road
45 to
repairs,
solve the
traffic
problem?
safety.
Well, and also bring a
Oh.
1-inch paintbrush with you on the committee. Because you can make the 4 on that speed limit sign a 9, and then it'll be from 45 to 95, then we'll get
45 to 95 is
what they're doing.
All right, Mark, let's have your fire and EMS report.
Okay, January, all right, January, we did not have a
calls.
meeting.
Somebody get regular calls from you?
Yeah. February, postponed the meeting because of the ice storm. Next scheduled meeting is the 22nd. Everything is going good and smooth. Got our squad car back with a new motor in it, so that's back in the fleet. So, I guess nothing are shaking in the report. Everything is going smooth.
Great. Carl, anything about from Belleville?
Belleville's in the middle of some staff challenges, and so most of their meetings have been about that. Their meeting night has always been the second Tuesday, and so after we shifted to this, I think we go to the 10th. So I think what we'll do is that once there's a new board, see how Belleville gets covered.
Well, other townships, their community members aren't necessarily on the board. Kind of like Brooklyn with us, that the town of Brooklyn has an appointed member, so.
It may come to that.
All right, also on the agenda for that is we have to appoint someone to the Oregon Area Fire EMS District Station Planning Committee. And so we have 3.
Yep.
Gentlemen to choose from. It was brought to my attention that Glenn as somebody that you would like to see on the board. That's correct, Kate?
We'll see, would like to see Doug Cena on it, and I guess there was Frank was not at the last fire meeting, and I got a note from Phil Van Campen that at that meeting, he stated at the meeting that he was hoping it would be Doug, so. Glenn Lensmeyer requested that the person that's on that committee be Doug Zena. And he's one of the people who's resumes here.
And he's probably the most qualified
Right.
based on this information.
So we're looking at one person out of the three, or?
Yes, I think just one person from every community to be on that. So yeah, I think we're only asking for one person to be on that committee.
There is some wiggle room on that, though. We had talked to Phil Van Campen and I think to Chief Linsmeyer. If I think we start with one tonight and then figure out later. if we go.
So. Hey, was that your motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve Doug Zena to this, with the plans for the new fire station.
I'll second that.
Or second?
Who are we?
Doug Cena.
It's on page
Okay.
59.
Okay,
59.
this one, yeah.
Any more discussion? Seeing none? All in favor of Doug being on the committee, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Doug, congratulations, you're on the committee. Emergency management report. Carl?
Nothing much. We were gonna wait to contact or to work on the radio project until after the tour is over, which would never be over.
All right. Number 19, Plan Commission report, Arlen.
I think we've hit the big points. We're going to have a meeting this on the 21st, so a week from tonight. There's going to be a conditional use permit training. And we have some people from adjacent townships that may be showing up.
Yeah.
So it'll be also an opportunity to be getting a little communication there. Looks like you've sent me back with some direction to the plan commission. We'll see where that goes.
You good? Anderson Farm Park report. Steve, are you attending any of the meeting?
No.
Okay. Constable report. I have not heard anything from Kurt, Jennifer.
I have not either.
Public Works report. We got this memo from Abel and Salt on it. He also sent us an email about getting a depth container for the trucks.
There's some information too here that he printed, what it looks like. I think there was some concern about the shelf life of the duct, so he's got that as well. He's said that a lot of the trucks use the duct.
There's nothing on here to approve the step container.
No,
Jennifer,
no.
So,
There's not, because I didn't know about it till after
Okay.
the agenda was already
Okay.
there.
Does he need approval then?
I mean, you know, it's $2,000. I mean, it's up to you guys. You want to approve it or you want him. It's pretty expensive.
Does Public Works have any budget funds that are not allocated to particular?
They have a repairs and supplies and it's a large amount this year. I mean, they haven't exceeded it, but yet we're only in March, right?
Right,
So,
right.
you know, I don't know if they'll exceed they always pretty much, but we upped it this year, so we're hoping they don't exceed it, but hard to know. So this might go over and above where, you know, it might put them.
thing about this and the depth is trucks use it. They're gonna buy it somewhere.
Right.
So this is an economical way of buying the product in bulk instead of going to Napa or wherever and buying a drum or little containers to fill the truck. So it is something. It's not like it's a want to more of a need, because we need it to run our trucks.
That's why I'm thinking maybe it doesn't have to be approved. Maybe it's just part of the.
You're probably
Supplies.
right in and of the self that they're gonna spend it regardless.
Yeah, they're gonna buy the depth regardless.
Yes.
It's just a matter of having this or another means of getting it. So that's basically, Arlen, you have a question?
Yeah, question.
Okay.
I don't know how much they use in a year.
I think they used
Uh,
165. Didn't he say that in the memo?
He says,
Did it?
Yeah,
Yes.
in the memo, it says 165 gallons per year. This memo. There's a lot. He doesn't get that to me.
This
all
memo?
Right here.
No, it's on the, oh, okay,
There.
there it is.
That's why I didn't see it. Okay, so this is something,
So it would just save them money and time.
So,
They
yeah.
have to bring it there and they have to exchange it at Curtis. So you're right in the sense that the money's gonna be spent.
So if you do this total that he's requesting, it's $3 a gallon. For the down, if he does a 55 gallon drum, it's $5 a gallon. The other thing is that, I don't know if this Quick Trip does, but a lot of Quick Trips are putting gas next to their diesel pumps. But I don't think there's a Quick Trip in Oregon here that does that, and
one in Verona.
the one in Verona does, and the one in Belleville does, I do believe, has the DEF right at the pump. So
This is what the price is.
I couldn't tell you what the
Do you
price
think
is.
it would be more cost effective for them to drive to Verona to do that? Is that the one by Costco?
Yes. The bigger, yeah, not the one in town.
I don't know that they know that.
So, but, I mean, it's something we could bring up. If we could approve this, I have no problem. It's cheap. I don't know what it costs to DEF to do it, because all the semis, I mean, everybody's going to DEF pretty much in the trucking industry, at least make it clean. So that $3 a gallon is a pretty good price that you can for that product. So I have no issue myself, just speaking for myself, of going to the tote instead of a 55 gallon drum, but
I think it's just something that Able can do.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
if they, before they buy it, they look at Quick Trip, just,
Right.
Sure.
just to
Off the
see.
jump.
or if it, but this is, looks like a long-term, well, it has a close to a 2-year payback, 2-3 year payback. Makes it a no-brainer.
All right. And obviously he's got the new loader in his memo, but we've kind of tabled that, not to do that this year, not spend any more money, so it's on his wish list. All right. Senior Center report, Kate?
Didn't have a meeting last month, we'll be having one on the 25th.
All right. Arlen, Road and Traffic Safety Committee report.
That would be a meeting this Thursday at 9 o'clock. It's gonna be a get to know each other and outline the work that's ahead on the second page. See the management outline that is looking at
Page
the
64.
page 64. Thank you. And there's a lot of things as we went around with Able and went through the different issues. There's a lot of issues that this committee will be tackling and bringing back to us. And I think it's a good thing as a line of communication between the town citizens and this committee and the board. If you have anything to be added, adding to this management or deleting from it, and the safety marker already left, speed limits. First on the state, under safety.
And you think you can talk about speed limit on Glenwood Road until you're blue in the face, and we tried what we could do and it worked for a while. And so
It's the same.
until we get a full-time patrolman to patrol that road 24/7, they're gonna have speeders on that road. That's just the way it is, so.
It's also going to be, well, and who knows, there may be roundabout at Glenway and Bellbrook just to slow people down. Or get a four-way stop sign.
We can't put a four-way stop sign in there. We've tried that and you cannot. There's a rule in the law that you cannot impede, I do believe is the terminology, traffic by adding a stop sign.
Impede traffic,
That is,
but you can slow, but
Well,
there's ways of slowing.
Traffic, well,
Slow it, there's way.
yeah,
Let-
but
let's
that
look at
was,
traffic
because
calming.
we talked about putting a four-way stop in there. And the sheriff's department told us that we could not do that.
Maybe we have to switch it.
Or there's not, now there's an idea, you can switch it from one way to the other.
Yeah.
But
So that's details to be looking into.
there's your first detail, when you first, all right. Park report, obviously, we just hired a new employee. Sounds like we are, and Lori can correct me, but we are buying cards back from people that are not using them at a limited basis. Because we are getting low on, kind of low on cards, and we don't want to buy new cards until July or whenever they run out, and put the new times on it, the new dates that were open and stuff like that. So they're working on buying some cards at the $40 price and not at the $60 price. And they are numbered so they know when that card was bought, was pre-November of last year. Or pre-January 1 of last year. So. Other than that, that's all I got.
can we
Well,
jump
have-
back? Or is that what you were gonna say?
No.
I was gonna say, can we jump back to item 24, because there's a possible action there for the
Well, I thought I didn't realize, I thought you said that was getting taken care of in the committee report.
the right of way permitting.
What's the right of way permitting?
It's not, it's that, what page is that?
It's
Oh,
on
you
page
said-
65.
Oh,
So- That's the current application we have. We have had quite a bit of problems with them working in the right of way around Bellbrook area. And we may want to, and I don't know if the Road Traffic Safety Committee wants to take that on. We might want to look at our processes of how we're doing this based upon all of the problems. We've never had this many problems ever since.
What are those problems?
They are cutting service multiple times and they're not communicating with the residents on what's happening. They didn't really fill out the right proper paperwork. So
Sent it to the wrong town.
yes, I'm to the wrong town. Yeah, yeah. Just kind of a whole list. Mostly it deals with cutting the power service to residents.
Electric service.
It would be telephone line, internet, so people who work from home. I had a physician who was very upset because she can't work in a public setting and she had no internet. And
Nearby
so,
fire chief.
yeah, fire chief, it just, it was bad.
Okay, well, we also have from Abel and Ryan's point of view, that those little pedestals that are being put in the right of way are being sometimes put in the middle of the ditch. Makes it a bit of a ditch to mow around them. And they're also other little things that just,
Nice term there.
also some are quite low and they can't be seen and hit the mower and you know, yeah, so there's a number of issues there.
There are, so, you know, I think it would be, do we want to look at form, do we want to look at other, it's gonna take a bit of research. And then maybe just a flow chart of how this is gonna be handled. So once they come into the office, what I've typically done in the past is sent them to Wayne and Abel and Ryan and said, do you have any concerns? If I don't hear anything back, then we go ahead and prove it. That's worked super well for all these years. It's just not working so well anymore.
Are they just going out and doing things? Or are they getting permits?
They're getting a permit sometimes. Now, I can't say all the time because this last time they didn't get a permit in the correct township. So we need some oversight, basically, I think is kind of what it comes to, like someone who's gonna go out and make sure that after they're done completing the work, that, you know, it's back to normal, the areas back to normal, that they're putting it in areas that we want. So whether that happens at board or road and traffic safety, my one concern about the road and traffic safety is if they're going to be approving these, you would want a group that's meeting at least once a month, and I don't know if that's the plan for the road and traffic safety.
It really wasn't,
Okay,
but and you're the one that's here every day.
Yeah, so-
So those
so-
would have to be,
so, yeah, so how would we, it could come to the board, does the board want to see them, or is it okay for Public Works to sort of, give them some, so, just some things to think about.
okay, to decide, do we have a deadline for deciding that?
No.
Okay, so some,
There's something maybe to add to your list.
another thing,
It's only a page away.
don't be patient.
Each way. All right, assessor service report.
I have in there that, so there is a requirement that we have to open board of review. It's pretty typical. And it's 45-day period beginning with the fourth Monday of April. So we're going to open board of review. We know based on our assessor's schedule that he already gave us, that they're not going to be ready, but we have to open it and then we'll close it. So that will be before the May 9th board meeting. So we'll meet at 6:15 that day. To open board review. Close it. And so with that, we have to have at least one person that does the board review training.
Fed volunteered already.
No, he already jumped for joy that he's not to be there, so. I caught you on that.
So in the past, there's been a video that I've sent around. There is also,
Interesting video
Done
too.
it the last 2 years.
yeah, it's wonderful. So there's also options to do it in person if you like. So I will proceed with getting the little disc unless anyone would like to do it in person. I can give you some options.
Videos.
Think of
Okay.
video.
Okay, all right.
All right. Building inspection services report. I'm good in February so far. 2 in March. Awesome. All right, board communications. 4/18/23 annual meeting at 6 p.m. Jennifer,
Yep, so we have an annual meeting, it's gonna be April 18th at 6. I have a draft agenda, so we sort of have a little duking it out because the senior center and the fire district like to get to other town meetings because it's a statutory date of annual meetings, so I put the senior center first this year and then put Glenn after since he went first last year. Is there anything else that you would like to have added to the agenda or Ro Parker, he always likes to give a little presentation. But if there's anything else that you would like to discuss, I can add it to the agenda. If not, then
Is this the planning commission one now too? Or we're gonna review
the
the.
planning commission date has changed.
No, you tabled the conversation until the next meeting, and this is the next meeting, right?
No, there's an actual town board meeting. Second Tuesday
Thank you.
of April. Whatever date that is, I have to look on my phone. So the actual board meeting will be the second Tuesday. And that'll be our last board meeting as a board together. And then on the 18th is when the new board members will be sworn in or sworn in, however you want to call it.
so it's April 11th is the board meeting and then April 18th. So
And then 25th is a plan commission.
25th.
busy.
Anything else? Anybody got anything for board communications? Nope. Okay. 29, future agenda items, vision statement, roles, responsibility, ARPA funds, policy decorum
Coming in future.
coming in the future. Arlen?
I'd ask for that we have, start, what is the, how are we going to operate, manage the work after July 1?
With the reduced hours that we have today.
Just that we have, because there's going to be, there have been some questions as to how it's being managed. Yes, we have some hours. Is that, if that is sufficient, because there were a lot of other questions that were out there and could be bringing, there's things that to, I think it's getting late.
It's getting late.
It's getting late. So rather than dwell on that now, we could have what the management, how it's going to be managed. That we do have a plan out there, because I'm not clear on what it is that's going to be other than hours. And the other.
Pretty much gonna operate the same as it is today, other than no garbage and no recycling.
If that's the plan.
That was my motion when I made the motion to go to curbside, that it was going to operate with brush, cardboard, tires, and metal. And the big containers for people to get rid of their couches, their chairs, and their stuff like that. That was how the park is going to operate. That was in my motion that I made to go into curbside.
I would just like to review that at our next meeting.
Jennifer, any news on your ARPA funds?
No. I have to submit. We used some for buying the Badger books and for the concrete, and I have to submit a report by April 30th on the use of it. And so then we'll kind of have a game plan of what we can start to plan for.
30, clerk's report, loan update.
So I have in here, we have the election obviously coming up on April 4th. We received the ballots very, very late, but luckily I had some poll workers that were able to come in this morning and we got the absentee ballots out, 258 absentee ballots mailed out today. I have sample ballots in here. There are some questions on here, some referendum questions that you guys didn't know, they're on here as well. We obviously have Elville school district candidates, Oregon school district candidates. We will be using the Badger books again. And then also what I have in here is the Dane County Towns Association. So Fred will remember, but we've gone through points in times where we've been a member and other times where we haven't been a member. We are now a member, and then included in here is just information on what they do as a group for us. That's just in your packet on page 76 and 77. I also put in here, since this is kind of appropriate, the Village of Oregon is doing their amendment to their comprehensive plan. And I included some information that they've been putting out, some PR. And then we have our loans. So we have to make our big public lands payments in March. So we have one still outstanding, and that is to state, it's not State Bank of Cross Plains, it's Lakeside, I think now. And that we took out for borrow the loans for the radios for the fire department. So we will probably make that payment after. So property tax bills can be paid in July, so we get our made whole sometime in August, and then I'll make that payment. So then. Oh, yeah, here, you can give it. That's all I have. He doesn't want to.
All right. This question, Jennifer, I didn't have time to read it, but I saw you send an email from our bank.
Yes. I did. There's all that in the news about the bank.
Bank's failing.
Yes, the bank's failing. And so our bank is, like I said, Lakeside and Lake Ridge. I apologize, Lake Ridge. And they just sent some information saying that they are not impacted and that the way that they diversify their funds is different than some of the banks that are in the news.
That it?
That's it.
All right, 31. So moved. Got a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll sign.
All in favor? Aye. Both same sign. Meeting adjourned at 8:22, it looks like.